Hello. So I just left my software engineering job at Bloomberg, New York City. This is my third time filming because it's a very hard video to make. Talking about leaving a job is a very nuanced conversation, and I wanted to make sure that I was being respectful. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joy. I'm a 20-something living in New York City. I love to make videos where I reflect on my feelings and my experiences in my 20s. I'm a little nervous because I've only told my parents, my brother, and very few people about it. Not even all of my close friends know, because it was just a really hard decision to make. So yeah, please be kind. So whenever someone leaves a job, there's usually so many factors. Why they want to leave, why they decided to finally leave, what they'll be doing in the meantime or what they'll be doing eventually, and of course finances. And I think all of that is a different conversation, but in this video I'll talk about specifically why I decided to leave. I think I wanted to leave this job since I want to say last year, early last year, and with each passing moment, I just became increasingly unhappier. And of course, this is just my experience. A lot of people love working at Bloomberg. There are people who have worked there for 30, 40 years. Unfortunately, it's not really the case for me. But you can't just leave a job just like that. There are things that you have to consider, things you have to factor in, especially things like finances, how are you going to sustain yourself in the meantime. So even though I wanted to leave since last year, it took me a while before I actually took the leap. Towards the end of last year, I became increasingly even unhappier for reasons that I'm not really going to talk about right now, but just being that unhappy made me realize that, okay, I have to leave, and I gave myself a personal deadline of within the first 4 months of 2024. Since last year, I was already planning on leaving. I saved up as much as I can. When I got my bonus in February last year, I did not spend a single dollar. I just immediately put it away to my savings because I knew that I would eventually want to leave. I'm financially in a good spot. I've saved enough to sustain myself for a while. That gave me more courage to take the leap. But I would say that the few hard things that I had to deal with were the internal monologues. So I know what a privilege it is to work a software engineering job. I know that you get paid a good amount and the working conditions are objectively good. There are so many more honorable positions out there that don't get paid nearly as much and have far worse working conditions. So I knew how privileged I was to have this role, and I was fully aware of the fact that the economy was it's really bad, that my friends were getting laid off, and I kept telling myself for a while that I should be grateful. I should be grateful that I have a job. I have this job. And so for a while I kept brushing aside, even though I wanted to leave, I kept pushing that conversation aside. But then I ultimately realized that I need to make decisions based on what is right for me. But the other thing that was really hard for me to reconcile was the fact that leaving felt like I was giving up on something. And I'm someone who is very gritty and resilient, and I take a lot of pride in being gritty and resilient. And leaving this job made me feel like I was taking a step back, made me feel like I was giving up, and I did not like the feeling like I was giving up. And I had to come to terms with the fact that sometimes in life, in order to move forward, you either need to take a pause, a step back, or a few steps back. You can't keep taking steps forward to move forward. And so I made peace with the fact that in order to move forward with my life, I can't win every battle. Leaving this job did not equate to me being someone who's not resilient. And that was pretty hard for me to come to terms with at first. It was also really hard to come to terms with the fact that I wanted to leave because I worked really, really hard to get this job, and I really, really, really wanted this job. This was something that I was working towards since I was in college. And I also worked really, really hard at this job. So it was really hard for me to reconcile the feeling that I was unhappy at work, but this was something that I was supposed to love. And ultimately, I realized that sometimes your dreams can change, and sometimes, I don't really regret it. I don't really regret working hard towards this job because I learned so much about myself, which I otherwise would not be in this path right now if it weren't for that. Once I managed to overcome these internal monologues, it became clear to me that I had to leave and I had to figure out what's next. So spoiler alert, I am not looking for a new job because I am taking an indefinite break from corporate America. Yes, so what will I be doing in the meantime? Well, I want to start my own thing. And for starters, I'm not going to be a full-time content creator because in order to be a full-time content creator, one, you need to be monetized, which I'm not. And then secondly, I feel like my content is derived from like my life experiences. And if I just do content, I feel like I will not be inspired enough to like make content, ironically. So I'm not going to do content full-time. What I'll be doing instead is I'm going to try and build my own thing, which I am already in the process of doing. But I can't really share so much right now because it's still a work in progress, but I am actively pouring in all my time and energy into starting my own thing, which I will talk more about in the future when I'm more ready. So yeah, I did not just leave my job at Bloomberg, I also left corporate America, which has been a really scary and nauseating feeling. Initially, I wanted to job search. I think around June last year, I started like job searching a little bit, and I also considered applying to schools. So if you watch my vlogs from last year, I spent a lot of my free time studying the GRE because I thought that I wanted to go to school. And so I was like kind of like oscillating between like going back to school and also like looking for another job. Because at this point in my career, I've worked for like almost 5 years, and I was kind of like trying to figure out like what's next for me. And ultimately, I realized that what I wanted to do next with my career was not going to school or going to get another job, but what I wanted instead was to start my own thing. However, I was afraid. I was really scared. Going to school / looking for another job would be just a placeholder event. It's a way for me to delay me being sincerely serious about like starting my own thing. And you know, nowadays like no one really quits without a plan, right? So I thought it wasn't the wise thing to do. But then I realized a few things, which was for a while now I've been telling my friends that I want to start my own thing, I want to do my own thing. And I was taking steps towards it, but I was not like taking big steps. And I knew so many people who, when we graduated college, told me that they want to start their own business or they want to start content, and they never really do it. And I think what scared me more than like not having a solid plan was the fact that I might turn into someone who says that they want to do something for years and never actually take a step at it. And I also reflected on my personal life experiences, how one of the best decisions of my life was moving to New York without a job lined up, without much savings even. I was so determined and desperate to make it work that I did. And so I realized that maybe what I needed was to not have a plan B in order for plan A to work, and to light my ass up a little bit on fire so that I become more desperate and I pour in all my time and energy into my own thing. Because otherwise I feel like I would always delay it, and I would always say that there's always a next time. But honestly, at this point, I've been saying it for years, and it's really time to take action. I feel like if there's any time to do it, it is now. I'm financially in a good spot because I've been working for 5 years now, and I feel like I would not have been able to make the step if I was just out of college for 2 years, because I would not have a lot of money saved up. And I also feel like I'm single, I don't have any dependents, I have no debt. So if there's any time to take a risk, it is now, because I've made peace with the fact that maybe I will completely fail, and that's okay. If I completely fail at the end of 2 years, then I will go look for another job. But I feel like right now, this is the most optimal time to like take a risk. Literally, if I fail, I'm the only person who needs to like bear the consequences of it, and like no one else. When it comes to like starting my own thing, I think there were also some like mindset shifts that helped me decide to like leave this role and to like not job search or have a plan, which was, if I need a job, if I decide a few months in that it's like really absolutely not for me, there will be another job out there for me. Even though it's hard to get a job, I will be able to eventually land something. And I also made peace with the fact that sometimes in life, in order to win the war, you have to lose some battles. And the war I'm trying to win is being an entrepreneur, not climbing up the ladder of corporate America. So the battle of working a corporate job is something that I am intentionally losing. Yeah, so I have essentially decided to light my ass up on fire, have no plan B, and really pour in all my time and energy into making this entrepreneurship dream of mine work, which, trust me, feels crazy and nauseating. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, who do I think I am? But I also feel like, you never know if you never try. And that, even if I fail, even if I completely fail and hate it, I learned something and I will never look back on my life wishing what if. I think what scares me more than like taking action is not taking action and regretting it a few years down the line and wishing that I did. I would say another factor that affected my decision was the fact that I was starting to make like videos and working on my web app in my free time, like just for the lols and just for the fun, but I felt like I was learning and I enjoyed it so much, and I haven't felt that way about any job in a very long time. So I think I want to follow my intuition and just see where it takes me and just like take this risk. Maybe this is like the worst decision that I've ever made. Only time will tell, but I feel like life is not about making the perfect decision every time, but it's about making the decision that rings true to your essence. So I'm really grateful because I told my parents this. Like, I've been telling them that I wanted to leave, I wanted to do this thing, and they've been very supportive. My dad was like, any dream you have, like, we're gonna support you like the way we know how, because my parents are in Indonesia. They don't understand corporate America, and they're just like, no, like, we trust you, we trust in your ability to like make decisions. So I feel like if I hadn't had that support from my family, I would not feel as confident going into it. And I told a few of my closest friends who I know would not judge me, because it's really scary. And the fact that like in New York, all of my friends or all of the people I know are like in corporate America. A lot of them actually love corporate America and are trying to climb up the career ladder. And so it just feels a bit crazy to me that I'm like taking a step that's like so different from everyone's. But I realize that you can't live your life doing same thing as other people, especially if you have your own dreams, especially if you want to do like your own thing. So yeah, that's honestly, I'm very scared and both excited. Like, I was listening to Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield the other day, and I was like, oh my god, this is like how I'm feeling. I'm like, I got a little rained on, I was waiting for food, and I like was thrilled. I was like, yeah, I can finally like be serious and see what happens. I can't wait to see the next chapter of my life. But then some days I wake up and I'm like, the imposter syndrome is like really real. Like, what are the chances of me succeeding? Like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, I should like just go look for another job. But you should take a step regardless of how you feel. And sometimes you should not let that fear stop you. So I'm trying my best here, But yeah, so my career transition right now is from employed to unemployed and trying to make it work. And I know that I'm like laughing and talking to you like I would a friend, but trust me that like the first week I was like crying every day because I was like, what if things don't work out? But I realized that sometimes you just gotta take that leap of faith even if things don't work out, because you never know. Anyways, yes, parting words. Thank you so much. I'll talk more about like unemployment and entrepreneur stuff in the future, but right now I think like I'm just gonna so I don't know, I'll be posting more videos, and it feels good deep down. Like, it feels good deep down to do something that's like right by me, even though it might not be the most logical or like socially acceptable decision. And I really want to thank my parents, my brother, and of course my closest friends who I told like the moment it happened, and they were like, we trust that you'll do great, because it's definitely nervous, it's definitely nerve-wracking, and I hope my dreams come true. I hope your dreams come true too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Love you, bye. I'm at Williamsburg on a Friday. It is day 1 of fun employment. I feel so good. I feel so happy, and I'm so excited for the next chapter of my life. So the first thing I did was I deleted Slack and all of my work apps, and also LinkedIn. I've been talking about how I want to get to this day, but it never came, and now that it's finally here, I can't believe it. I'm so happy. I'm gonna dedicate literally the next 2 years of my life to making all of my dreams come true. So dear future Joy, make me proud, okay? Already taken the hardest step, which was leaving my job, and not just my job, but corporate America. So yes, you can do it. Fighting.